Good morning to you and welcome back. President Trump promising to make America safe again by taking out terrorists here at home and overseas.
America is being respected again abroad, and we are taking care of our citizens at home. We're going to take care of this country for our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren, and we're not going to let people come into our country who are going to destroy our country.
But one headline claims the New York City subway attack proves the threat of ISIS is not going away, but it is evolving. So what can the president do to obliterate the terror group once and for all? Hudson Institute senior fellow Rebeccah Heinrichs joins us live now. Good morning, Rebeccah. Thanks for being here. Do you agree that ISIS and the terrorist attacks here in this area are going to be evolving?
Well, you know, the enemy is adapting, and so it's not an exaggeration to say that President Trump really has unleashed the U.S. military to go and defeat ISIS abroad. That is happening. Our military has been very successful in crushing ISIS in Iraq. But it's always going to be the goal for the enemy to attack Americans here at home, and so they're going to adapt, which is why now, in addition to fighting ISIS, where there still are pockets abroad and making sure that they don't establish other footholds in other regions, we have to be very vigilant here at home. And that means we have to have extreme vetting. It means we actually have to, really make sure that it's not enough just that people who want to come here don't have criminal records. We have to make sure that they're going to be able to assimilate and, that they love Americans, that they want to be here and they're going to be peaceful. That's going to be important. And we have to have a strong surveillance program around these areas where we have seen pockets of dangerous activity around particular mosques, et cetera. It's going to be a multi-pronged approach.
But how do you get people to get on board with that line of thinking, to be able to have that surveillance and do these things that you're talking about? Because a lot of people are against it.
A lot of people are against it, but you have to educate people about what is constitutional, what it's not. A lot of people think that simply because they're uncomfortable that that's unconstitutional or unlawful, and that's simply not true. The Constitution is not a suicide pact. We don't have to allow people who wish harm on Americans to be living among us. And so, law enforcement has to be able to get into those communities, establish trust there. And, a lot of these terrorists who become radicalized over time, they have indicators that they're becoming radicalized. And so friends and family have to be willing to go to law enforcement and let them know that, look, this guy is becoming radicalized. He was peaceful a couple years ago, and now he's watching ISIS propaganda videos. So there needs to be these stronger ties within these communities with law enforcement if we're really going to nip this thing in the bud and prevent these guys from committing terrorist attacks.
This can happen anywhere. This can happen in any city, any big city, any place in America. But specifically, we're talking about New York right now because look at the last 6 weeks. You saw Halloween, you saw that terrorist attack, and you saw what happened earlier this week. Okay, that's two in a matter of 6 weeks. Both of those men would not have been in this country had it not been for the lottery system, chain migration. What is your message for the people of America?
We can't be naive. We are a generous, compassionate country, but it is not compassionate to allow our own citizens to remain vulnerable to these kinds of attacks. So, nobody is entitled to be here. It is a privilege to be in the United States of America. It's a privilege to be an American citizen. And so we really have to pay attention to our borders and know who's going to be here and make sure that those who are here don't wish us harm and are here to be peaceful, productive members of society.
At what point do you think everyone will get on board with this? How long do you think it's going to take? How many attacks do you think are going to happen until people finally say, you know what, we do need to protect ourselves?
Well, I hope, obviously, that we don't have to endure another major attack. But there are changes that are being made slowly. I think that President Trump was elected because he has properly identified the threat. And so his base certainly realizes it. And a lot of other Americans who supported him understand that we are under attack and that this threat is real. And it just takes, a constant public education. And unfortunately, it does take some thwarted attacks and other attacks to wake people up. But we are making progress, and I'm very supportive of what the president's doing to educate people about what it means to be here lawfully, and also to make sure that we are properly vetting people. Again, I just want to reiterate, it's not enough that you just don't have a criminal record. A lot of these countries that they're coming from don't even have a proper vetting process. You actually have to demonstrate qualities that demonstrate that you can be here peacefully and productively.
Rebeccah Heinrichs, thank you so much for joining us this morning.